Bobby.
Dr. Bell?
Why is that not here? You're getting my Skype messages too pretty well. Is that right? Daniel?
Talking to me?
Okay, we should be going live.
Yeah, you're on the air.
Okay, Bobby Walton, we are back. Can you hear me, Bobby?
You sound... I can hear you, Dr. Bell. It sounds very far away.
Yeah, I think we need to get Daniel to turn up the sound a bit there. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
That's good, yeah. We have a different board op, so it's just getting used to our board. Bobby, I want to give a mini course to those doctors and dentists out there that don't understand this principle. I'm a surgeon, as well as internist doctor, retired now, and I do research in a number of areas. Before I went into medicine in '73, I was infectious disease working actually in marine bacteriology, so I understand Bergey's manual of subtyping bacteria. I know about pathogenesis and how they enter tissue planes using free iron. I understand that most pathogens are not just extracellular or intracellular as well. This is for dentists out there. In a recent case of a consult, we had a dentist consultation case where the dentist was going to do bone grafting, etc., for a particular individual, and insisted that after doing biological dentistry, including ozone therapy, that the ozone would only penetrate the surface and just aggravate it, that they couldn't. Antibiotics would just kind of prolong the misery, so the only thing to do would be to cut out the bone or the margins of the bone in the area where the tissue was showing an x-ray that there was abnormalities present. And I have a big notice for them. Typical antibiotics do not penetrate biofilm. A biofilm is what bacteria generate and fungus generates that actually blocks the penetration of antibiotics. Even very powerful IV antibiotics like moxifloxacin, etc. And when you take allicin in the form of Alamax or Alamed, and or Allicin Med, if you take our Alamax products, what you do is you penetrate through the biofilm and you kill off pathogens, not just bacteria, but you also get a broad range of bacteria, not just gram-negatives or gram-positives or anaerobes. And you also penetrate and kill off parasites, viruses, psittacosis, and other nasty things like fungi. For example, in patients that have diabetes, they're allergic to the gunnels with fungi and mycobacteria. That's been known for something like 900 years that mycobacteria, which is a cousin of TB, is very, very heavily in people with diabetes. Now, if you want to clear out what that person should have had done, and this is my recommendation, is they should have had YAG laser to clear out along with ozone, but then they need to have high dosages of allicin and the Alamax and Alamed. And what they do is this will penetrate through the biofilm, kill off the pathogens, and then you'll get a demarcation zone which you can repeat the x-rays, and you'll determine if there really is any boundary zone where the bone cannot be colonized. So that's important for people to understand it. So what's happening is that you don't rush into doing those kind of things. I've already rebooted it. It's already done.
He's on the line now and wants us to reboot it right now. He's trying to send a signal.
Okay. So that's the mini course. So Bobby, what would you say when you hear surgeons wanting to just cut, when really they should, once you create a surgical drain or you have drainage, you don't have to necessarily excise tissue because you think the antibiotics won't penetrate. Alamax and Alamed will. That's pretty interesting and important, isn't it?
Yes, actually, it's very interesting, Dr. Bell. There's not many things out there that will do that. So it's nice to have something that you can take that is all natural every day to help with that. I mean, people are going in and out of hospitals and they can get staph infections or bit by ticks and get Lyme disease or colds and flus and hay fevers and,
Exactly.
Hey, Bobby, it's Michelle. I know she's on the air. You know what? Bobby was asking me to tell everybody how much I love the Alamax.
I was telling you to say that, Michelle.
This is my opportunity, and I can't hear you, Bobby. I'm just in the studio to say my 2 cents worth and leave. God bless you, Bobby. Take care.
I am always telling Michelle to, say her to, she does love the Allison, and she takes it every day like I do. So thanks for that, Michelle. But, the Allimax is such a unique product that nobody else has. The Nutrimedical report, who distributes it out. And if you're really looking to stay healthy and build your immune system and keep yourself healthy, then Allison is definitely the way to go. One a day is going to keep the doctor away or keep you out of the ICU or, however you want to say it.
Well, I think cellular hygiene is important. And the thing is, even cancer is an infection. This is Koch's postulate, that's K-O-C-H, the German scientist, that made these postulates that most diseases are infective. In fact, the more you research, you find even ulcers or Helicobacter pylori, nanobacteria which are around your teeth are also in the plaque in your arteries. When you have intracellular pathogens like Lyme disease, babesiosis, or ehrlichiosis, there's a direct link between cross-linking proteins in the Lyme parasite and multiple sclerosis. Same with ALS and other illnesses that we thought were autoimmune, in fact, are triggered off by a stealth pathogen. So the idea that you clear your body of these stealth pathogens transforms and protects you from complications of diabetes. I remember a dermatology friend of mine, and this is around 33 years ago, back in the early 80s, who was a triple-boarded specialist in dermatology, internal medicine, and infectious disease. And he took electron micrographs and showed that the diabetic lipoprotein changes of the lower leg were actually due to fungi pushing their nuclei directly through, even in the bone. So when we see people that think that they got dementia, they may have a stealth pathogen in their brain, which is a virus activated from their previous childhood vaccines, or a pathogen they picked up, or a fungus in their sinus cavities, upregulating inflammation of the microglia in their brain. The fact that they're taking Allimax may not just change them so they don't have periodontal disease, it may change them so they don't get demented, or have a heart attack, or end up going in renal failure, or lose their toes or feet. So it's a very big deal when people start taking Allimax daily. And I tell people, before you rush into $5 or $10 or $20 or $30,000 of dental surgery, you want to be taking high-dose Allimax. I also recommend they take the Nutridyne. I recommend they take our things to rebuild the membranous bone, Collagen Max, Mountain Red Velvet, and to build a rebar for the bone, and Micelle D3 Myco D2. But the Allimax is one of the most penetrating nutraceuticals we know. And in fact, Ron Cutler, who's Dr. Ron Cutler from Britain, has been on my show a number of times. In fact, I just Skype messaged Peter Jostling, who developed Allimax Alamed, as a pharmacologist, and they call it a chemist in Britain. And Cutler, actually, I had a chance to meet him when he was at an infectious disease conference some years ago, but he's been on the show a number of times over the last 10 years. And they've had people in ICU and the hospitals off of Harley Street in London, where they are on a PICC line with an IV and they're dying, and you add Allimax, Alamed, basically by nasal feeding tube, and they survive, which means it kills off resistant bacteria, it prevents resistance from developing, and it penetrates through body tissues to stop someone dying of sepsis. So a lot of people don't realize you can get fungal sepsis with a traumatic accident. I did research back in the late 70s and proved that many of the people that die in the ICU from burns or trauma actually don't die of bacterial gram-negative septicemia. They die of fungal septicemia. And Allimax is one of the singular most powerful ways to penetrate through biofilm and kill off fungi, too. So it's a big deal, isn't it?
Sure is. I mean, I think everybody these days wants to, try to stay healthy and live life the fullest and to the longest and, everything like that. So, taking Allison every day is going to help you do that.
It does. It works really well. Now, Bobby, can you still hear me?
I can. I hear some music.
You can hear some music in the background. Well, I'm not playing any music, so I'm not sure where it's coming from. It could be the studio. We've had some technical problems with our power here in California. Luckily, I have a backup generator, ISDN, all kinds of other backups and backups, so it's hard to knock me off the air. Near impossible, actually. So, That's my mini course. I tell people, don't rush into dental surgery. Don't rush into Nutrimedical report. We're going to try to track down Tom Strader from MG12. Just want to remind you, we have the hyperlink directly for MG12 magnesium products, which are from the Dead Sea. It has the magnesium chloride and the trace elements from the Dead Sea, which include 14 minerals not present even in the oceans or in your food that your body needs for active site of enzymes. If you take MG12 and our Indium E's and our special Trax amino acid chelates and Vitamineral Max, Minerals Plus, Life Support, Ageless Energize, etc., and of course our NutriComplete, you're going to end up with super absorption of your minerals. And when you have optimized minerals, you turn on the genes to transcribe and make new proteins and structural proteins and enzymes. So very important to understand that that's what's happening there. We are also should be connected, I think, to Dr. Fred Graves. Dr. Fred, are you there? It doesn't look... Okay, we're trying to track down, so we're having connection issues. Dr. Fred Graves, by the way, is our jurisdictionary course. And this course, by the way, will prepare you to be a pro se litigant taking actions. And a lot of the issues that we see in our political spectrum, whether it's pro-life issues or demanding answers from people like our presidential candidates like Hillary Clinton, I call her Hitlery Clinton, we still have issues going on there. So here's the situation. We have the MG12 nutraceuticals. When you apply them to your body, you're going to be using the magnesium oil or the magnesium bath salts, the Magnus Sport, which includes Arnica montana essential oils as well, the Healing Body Balm, which you can apply and access to your body. When I have a deep tissue massage, I always use the Healing Body Balm. It's amazing. We have the underarm deodorant, the shampoo, as well as all the topicals. In other words, a whole product line that will help to keep you healthy and remineralize your body. When you do, you reduce muscle cramps, cardiac arrhythmias, vascular spasm, seizures, migraine headaches. Again, mineralization is very important for that to be working. So I think people should realize just how many nutraceuticals, if you use them, they're going to change the entire course of your health. And of course, when we talk about our legal health, we have Dr. Fred Graves. The jurisdictionary course, if you take it, is probably the best legal tools you'll ever get. And you get an honorary JD degree that will actually show that you have taken the full course, which will take you an average of about 24 hours of study. So over a period of a matter of a few weeks to a month, if you just spend a few hours a day, you will become a legal expert on how the rules of evidence and rules of procedure for all the federal and state courts, and it works for all English systems, not only here in America, but Britain, as well as English systems in China and Russia, which are based on the English court system, believe it or not. And that allows you to have the tools to go to court and actually make certain that judges behave themselves, that the rules of evidence are applied against other attorneys, and people are doing pro se litigant actions that you can counter or call discovery. In fact, most cases are won in the discovery phase or in the rules of evidence phase, where you're actually getting evidence. They're not actually won in court. In court, basically, is the final laying out of the full case, but in fact, the case is won beforehand on discovery and the rules of procedure, how to proceed prior to any kind of arrival in court. And that's why it's important to understand that whole process. Do we have either Tom Strader or Dr. Fred Graves available? Yeah, I guess Dr. Fred will be available in a few minutes, and Tom is not available right now. Well, I want to talk about some of the other things we're doing, too. Coming up tomorrow, we have a special on with Peter Fettig, who actually is a upline for Midas Resources, Ted Anderson, and for Carrot Bars. And now Carrot Bars is an amazing, what I call multi-level business tool. And we search very carefully because I have experience in multi-levels. This one is very different. You have 1 gram, 5 gram, and 2 gram actual gold, high 99.99% gold in these Carrot Bar cards. You can also purchase larger amounts of gold in bars, etc. And what it does is allows you to have a MasterCard where you actually are making financial gains are not only saving in gold, but also financial gains which go to your card for all the people you sponsor and people downline. People that sign up under us, we will actually sponsor, be putting many other people we have under them. So besides the people that they will sponsor themselves, we'll actually be building their downline for them, because we'll be feeding the people underneath us with those that want to build a business. If an average person commits to just getting one customer that purchases $55 of gold in one of these cards, let's say 1 gram card, per month, and sponsors one person, in 1 year they will be making around $18,000 per month. That's pretty amazing. So even if you did half that, so it's again a multiplicative action. We tell people savings is very important. Getting out of the dollar is important, because it's very likely going to be a devaluation of the dollar, either objective devaluation or hyperinflation. It'll be sneaky, as it has been the last few years. So Carrot Bars is a fantastic business, and we strongly recommend that you listen to that program tomorrow with Peter Fettig. It's going to be very, very good. And I think what it'll do is it'll allow people to understand that you can have a Carrot Bar business and build it and save gold and money, which you can use for other purposes, and you can build a downline. It'll mean you have some financial security as a secondary income besides your job. And also, as I say, the average person, it's interesting, that goes bankrupt, if they had $400 more a month, would not go bankrupt. The average person, if they had $400 additional dollars a month that they saved on a consistent basis every month, over a period of 2 or 3 years, they'd have $50,000, $100,000. It's amazing. So you have to have a steady habit of doing things like this, saving gold and making money with a downline that you sponsor and get other people involved with the business is going to be an excellent way to not only support us here at Nutrimedical, but support yourself. And we will build the downline for you with the people that come in and come to our website, listen to our programs. And so as you jump in early, which is smart, we will build a downline for you, as well as the people that you will have sponsor yourself. So before you know it, you'll have a significant alternative, an additional, or maybe even a main income in a period of a year or two that will outshadow even your primary job. So I think it's a very, very excellent way to help a lot of people out there that are not saving, that are relying on the dollar, don't realize this, like we have Lowell Ponte in the program, don't bank on it. You don't want to bank on putting your money in the banks when they can seize it, or devalue it like they're doing in Greece, going to devalue the currency and steal people's money. If they have over $9,000 or 9,000 euros in deposit, they're going to actually steal 30% of it. That's pretty dramatic, and that's one of the major banks. It'll be followed by all the others in Greece. This kind of process, if it's done in France, Italy, Germany, and Ireland, etc., will cause a significant catastrophe over there. So don't be caught with your money stuck in the bank not appreciating. Gold and silver will appreciate, and of course the Carrot Bars are going to have Carrot money that can use for international transactions. It's better than Bitcoin. They'll have Carrot Cash coming up by the end of the year. This is a business you want to get into now if you want to really advance and save yourself a lot of financial pain in the future. And we have Dr. Fred Graves here, Jurisdictionary. This course, by the way, if you're listening to this program, getting the Jurisdictionary course is required reading. I don't know why you'd listen to this program month after month and not get this course. I don't know why you'd whine about the politicians, whether it's Democrats or Republicans or in another English-speaking country, whether it's Canada, Russia, China. They're all based on English-speaking legal systems. And you want to take legal action, but you're afraid. Almost like people are afraid of the dentist. People should realize voting a politician in doesn't fix the problem. Changing the law and the interpretation and the function of the law changes the problems. Because if you don't have a rule of law, you've got chaos. And you have that's the choice you have, the cartridge box or the witness box. Let's put it that way. Dr. Fred, can I throw a couple of just cases for people? Let's say you have a property dispute. You show people how to go to the proper areas to find the case law, how to learn the procedures, and how to do rules of evidence. Or let's say you have a slander suit or a civil rights suit. You show people step by step how to go and find the various pieces to put it together. Give us some examples of how you would do that with your course.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bill. It's so simple. Let me kind of outline the key to why the course is so popular. Let's say we have a contract case, every case turns on what is called a cause of action. I won't get into it too deep because we don't have enough time. But think of a cause of action would be like a pineapple upside down cake. Now, you can have a cake. You could put cherries in it. You could put strawberries in it. You could put raspberries or kumquats. But if you don't put pineapple in it, then it's not a pineapple upside down cake.
Right.
It might not even be right. Mom used the term, right side up. Okay.
Right.
But anyway, a breach of contract case has 3 elements. And once a person gets this into their mind and they realize, gee, there are 3 elements I have to prove. Now, each of those elements then is supported by a fact. Now, for example, the first element is existence of an enforceable contract. The second element is an act on the part of the defendant that breached the promise. And the third element is the plaintiff suffered money damages. Those are the elements. There aren't 125 of them. It isn't something that an 8th grader can out under. In fact, you could teach this to a 2nd grader, I do believe. Really. Okay, so first element. What are the facts? Danny promised Peter that he would spray the strawberries with an insecticide. Peter paid Danny $4,000. Peter went away on vacation. Danny promised to spray the strawberries during the month of July. And now the second element, the breach. Peter came back from vacation in August, and his strawberries were all eaten up by bugs. Danny didn't spray the strawberries at any time. Element number 3, Peter suffered money damages as a direct and proximate result because he lost his crop.
Right.
Now, this is not rocket science. This is not calculus. This is not understanding the ADP and ATP and all those things that you learn in medical school. This is not complicated. Lawyers have the whole world thinking that it's way too complicated. It's nothing like medicine, Dr. Bill. It is absolutely a piece of cake. So once you understand, like in foreclosure, there has to be a promissory note where somebody promised to pay. There has to be a mortgage, and the mortgage has to secure the property against the note. Number 3, there has to be a breach of the note. And, there are certain elements. There aren't a lot of them. And then each element has certain facts which you have to allege and then prove. That's all there is to this. And like you said earlier when you first came on the air, it's true. It's like, why on earth do we have people bitching and moaning about what's going on in the world and how terrible it is? And, all the lawyers are crooks and all the judges are crooks and all of this and everything, when it's within their reach to learn something that simple. I mean, my mom made pineapple upside down cake. She used to make it all the time. She hardly ever made it with pickles. She almost always put some pineapple in there because you have to have pineapple. And to win a foreclosure case, there's certain things you have to have, and you don't have to have a whole lot. And the law is simple. The law is nothing. It's how to play the game. That's where the winners are. People who know how to play the game. How to get the evidence into the record, how to prove the elements, and how to move the court for a judgment. It's not hard. So what's not to learn?
Exactly. Dr. Fred, do you ever find sometimes you actually have clients that are attorneys that have been out in practice for a while and want to polish up their skills and realize there's holes in their, what I call their playing field rule book, understanding these principles? Do you find that sometimes you're getting attorneys who are saying, hey, I took your course and it made me much more effective in court?
I have had that happen. And the reason that we get that kind of response from lawyers is that they don't teach this in law school. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. They teach us, for example, the fundamentals of property law. They talk about torts. They talk about contracts in general. Hadley versus Baxendale, and we read all these cases, Kirksey versus Kirksey, and all these different cases, and they call that an education. It's called the Langdell method. Started at Harvard, I don't know, 100 years ago. And so far, nobody's wised up enough to realize it. And the bar itself is now saying, the bar itself, the American bar and the various state bars are now beginning to realize our law schools are not turning out people who are competent to practice law. They don't understand how to play the game. I went before the Florida Supreme Court one time and argued about something that has to do with one of the rules. And the Florida Supreme Court justices, they said from the bench, but judges don't understand that. And I said back to them, I said, well, then enter an order from the Supreme Court for judges to be required to learn how to do this. Can you beat that? For justices of the Supreme Court to say that judges don't understand it. And it's so simple. I've got people who are truck drivers, single moms, average people, wonderful people. They understand it because they took my course, but they don't teach it in law school. So I don't know. I think maybe that kind of answers your question, or at least
it does. Yeah, and that's what I do I do on the medical side. What I know, naturopaths, MDs, chiropractors, massage therapists, and so on are not taught in their kind of branch of medicine. Because remember, the way the medical system is run, from all these different specialties all the way up to top surgeons, is it's run as a business, and the rules of evidence and the rules of how disease progresses isn't really thoroughly being taught in school. For example, the areas that I see extremely deficient in medicine is intermediate metabolism, toxicology, pathology, infectious disease, and the plasma physics of a biological system and how epigenetics controls gene regulation. You ask the average doctor, including surgeon.
Let me answer your first question this way. Okay, I think I know the meaning of the word etiology.
Right.
So in the law, when we have a legal problem, I look for the etiology. I don't just look for the symptoms. I want to know what is the cause of the problem here, and that's what we're going to attack. We're going to attack the cause of the problem, get to the root of the thing, and then we maybe can help this patient. But until you actually understand why his arm is rotting off, you can give him all the stats and pills in the world. And you may not be helping him if you're not addressing. Is that the right word, etiology?
Yeah, exactly. In other words, what you do is you do a legal diagnosis, that you show the rules of evidence and procedure. You show the if you want to call it the legal structure of the body of law and its operation, which, in a sense, you're like a legal living pathologist explaining to people this is why a person legally lives or dies. How's that?
That's very good, sir.
I like metaphor. I think it helps. Again, get the course. If you don't, stop whining. Yeah, Bruce McKeeman from Hyperbaric Dives, Summit to Sea. And Bruce, I get in my chamber daily, and I can tell you what I do is I use ozone. In fact, we have new ozone machines now. They're excellent, and I did my significant research, so we have a superior machine to the Go Healthy Next machine. So if you call us, we don't have them posted up yet, that they will be posted up this week. I also have an oxygen concentrator, a Respironics, to get another 7% oxygen. And I can tell you, a half an hour to a couple hours, depending on how much time I have, in the chamber transforms your day, and it doesn't matter what health condition you have. Mild hyperbaric oxygen is all you need. You do not need 3 atmospheres. I was a consultant for hyperbaric chambers. Mild hyperbaric oxygen with these augmented gases of ozone, perhaps some exotic gases like small amounts of nitric oxide and helium, because I'm trained also in intensive care. Heliox is used, developed by NASA. Mild hyperbarics really is I call it the power of ones. Oxygen, Nutrimeds, energetic or scalar technology like micropulse, lumen photon, X-Vitalizer, etc. And these are amazing technologies. So tell us about hyperbaric dives, why it's affordable. For example, we have a new affordable line of chambers. You also have financing available. There really is no excuse why people should be looky-loos and say, gee, I'm dying of a horrible condition, or I'm not recovering with my conventional or alternative treatment. Dr. Deagle, you've mentioned this before. And again, by the way, if you contact Bruce, and he's at, Bruce, what's your phone number? 612-325-8243, because we have also a link directly up on the website now through our associates. So if you go to Hyperbaric Dives, you'll see their logo there, Summit to Sea. You can hit that hyperlink and it'll say you were referred by Dr. Bill. And if you have questions and want to do a three-way call with Bruce and myself to figure out if it'll help your health condition, the rule of thumb is if you have any health condition at all, of any kind, heart disease, dementia, Parkinson's, ALS, autoimmune conditions, psoriasis, it's helped by hyperbaric oxygen. There's no health condition that's not helped by it. Some conditions a lot more dramatically, autism, post-traumatic brain injury, ECMO brain after being on heart-lung bypass for bypass. So what makes this chamber so superior is they're so ergonomic, they're so different, like the vertical grand dive. I mean, they're so comfortable and non-claustrophobic and bright. Tell us all about your chambers, what makes them so user-friendly but amazing.
We started with our customers and came out with our first line of chambers and asked them what we could do to improve. Whatever they said, we tested it. Was it viable? We market tested it, and we did it. That's the ultra bright. That's the belts that give added security that the chamber will be intact for years to come. That's the built-in stereo system in the vertical chambers, so that the wall of the chamber actually becomes your speaker system. That is the brightness, the large windows, the dual pumps for redundancy, for safety. Some chambers out there have one pump. If that pump fails and you're inside asleep, you're not getting any air, and it's not getting rid of the CO2. So safety, bright ergonomics, and clinically at 4.4 psi, as you have mentioned many times, it's going to really help eliminate those issues you're trying to deal with. So pricing, hey, if it costs $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, Joe Average can't use it, and they're going to suffer. So we came out with a chamber as low as $39.95, so that no more are all chambers over $10,000. Now majority are under. And we did that by working with our factories to get the price as low as we could and staying lean. Most companies our size have 20-plus employees. We have 4. We subcontract out to excellent manufacturers, and we keep that cost low.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, of course, you have the chambers made here in America. Tell us about the difference between your chambers and anybody else. So what makes it different?
First is ergonomics. The largest chamber on the market when we started was 31 inches. So we came out with a 40-inch chamber, then the 60-inch vertical chamber. The next is brightness. Most chambers you had to bring a flashlight in with you to read. Right. Next is the coolness of the chamber. Our chambers have a passive cooler. Next is the silence. Our motors, you can attest to this, Bill, you can't hear your motors are on when you go over and touch them and feel the vibration.
Exactly.
That is what we have done to separate ourselves from the competition.
I think it's like under 20 decibels, it's like a whisper.
Yes. What else we've done to separate us from the competition is to make the entry system easy. We are the only supplier on the market with an airtight zipper, so that you don't have to massage a piece of foam between 2 mechanical zippers to get it to seal and pressurize. You close that airtight zipper and it immediately starts pressurizing. So what differentiates us from the competition is having a chamber that's easy to use, fun to use, comfortable to use, and safe to use.
Yeah. Now, the physiology of what hyperbaric oxygen does, it's Henry's law. It dissolves the oxygen and the ozone, or these other we call remnant gases. There's research now, because I was actually had a job opportunity to work at Vencor, so I worked in an intensive care unit, and they discovered in NASA if you add a little helium, very tiny amount, like a small balloon of helium, if you go in the chamber, or a small amount of nitric oxide or even hydrogen sulfide, it protects your mitochondria and your cells from oxidative stress. So the first thing I recommend to people is get one of our ozone machines and put the line directly, the hose line from the ozonator directly into your compressor. Even before you start adding, an extra oxygen concentrator like a Respironics. And the affordability, how much does it cost if somebody gets, say, a vertical grand dive if they put it on say, a financing over 3 years or 5 years? How much will it cost them?
What you'd be spending is approximately $14,000. And so you're talking a couple $100 a month. for the period of the lease, and at the end of the lease, you own the chamber.
And not only that, if you were to go to a hyperbaric chamber, and I know I did research here to find out the University of California, San Diego has a facility down in Encinitas, which is a large, like a whole room, where they bring in multiple people, and the danger there, of course, you're going to be cross-infected because these people are coming in with gangrene or other issues. But if you're in your own home chamber, number one, it's clean. It's quiet. You can listen to music. The side walls you can actually plug in, and the walls become speakers. It's bright, and you can hang lights like I got from my friend, some lights that you flick on, or you can have color change lights that'll change lights. So you can be in there and get yourself in the mood. If you want to read, it's big enough. I have a director's chair and a triangular chair and actually one of those little mobile desk mounts for my laptop. So my laptop is in there, so I actually answer emails when I'm in the chamber. And, of course, your brain is working a lot more efficiently when it's oxygenated, so I get a lot more work done inside there with no distractions, and I can listen to music while I'm working. I tell people the oxygen, what it does is it raises the electron density in your tissues. It helps kill pathogens directly. It amplifies your immune cells to kill off and fight cancer. So if you've got cancer, like you have a friend, for example, that's coming over to my chamber, I pop him in the chamber and put him in there for half an hour to an hour plus, and his body is fighting cancer like crazy because he's taking all our Nutrimeds. He goes in the chamber, and it's going to make a dramatic difference whether he had conventional chemo or he's getting alternative care, and he's going to do far, far better if he's getting mild hyperbaric oxygen therapy with ozone. Makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And again, if it's not ergonomic, if it's hard to get into, if it's hot, if it's dark, it's going to sit in the corner of your living room. And that's why we listen to our customers. We want them to use it.
Right. And when you start using it on a regular basis, and we have people who've had things like they've been told that you got congestive heart failure, and most people don't realize this, a diagnosis of congestive heart failure is the same as stage 4 metastatic cancer. It's gone to your spinal cord, your brain, and your liver. That's how bad the diagnosis is in terms of 5-year survival. We have people we put on our Nutrimeds. We get them in a mild hyperbaric chamber with ozone. We give them the scalar technologies to detox their body, lumen photon, micropulse, and they get better. They don't just deteriorate and go downhill to the point where they're dying. And then, of course, the cardiologists can't do a darn thing for them after a while. They try to unload their fluid. We reverse the illness. We make the arrhythmias like atrial fibrillation go away with hyperbaric oxygen or magnesium glycinate, malate, and all of the other nutraceuticals. But oxygen is that important. There's no health condition that I know is not helped, whether it's depression, autism, developmental disorders, post-chemo brain, radionecrosis of bones, peripheral neuropathy. There is no health condition that's not improved by mild hyperbaric oxygen, and I add ozone to everyone. Get your ozonator machine from us, and from some to see your mild hyperbaric oxygen, your body will love you for doing it. Don't just be a looky-loo. Call us, and we'll talk to you about it.